You're listening to the Retro Mo Podcast. I'm your host, Mo, and I love to play and review old video games and a few new games too. If you prefer to read instead of listen, check out my written reviews at retromo.substack.com. In this episode, I'll be sharing my experience with Elder Scrolls V, Skyrim, which I've scored 9.5 out of 10, an amazing game, the ultimate open-world fantasy adventure. Elder Scrolls IV, Oblivion, and Fallout 3 definitely hit some sort of a bullseye in my gamer's heart. There's something about the design of these major Bethesda games that just nails this sweet spot for me. Creating a character, exploring a sprawling 3D world, interacting with hundreds of characters with thousands of lines of voice-acted dialogue, immersing myself into an epic fantasy or sci-fi tale, seemingly endless side quests and things to do. Bethesda has found the recipe for a perfect Mo game. For years, Oblivion and Fallout 3 sat atop my top 5 games of all time list. But every time Skyrim came up in conversation, I had to embarrassingly confess that I hadn't played the game yet. Well, I remedied that problem a few years ago. I played Skyrim, and I loved it. 120 hours later, I, quote, finished Skyrim, meaning I completed the main quest and most of the side quests, minus a few tedious fetch quests that I chose to skip. Skyrim looked great in 2011, and I can still appreciate how it looks today, but I do understand that many struggle with the aging visuals, even with graphical mods. Yet, Skyrim is still an incredibly immersive experience. I think the dialogue-heavy way they deposit story into the game through random NPCs and quests is very captivating. Bethesda succeeds at making me feel like I'm in the world of Skyrim. And it really is such a huge game. I did get a little fatigued with the miscellaneous Radiant quests, and even a few of the larger side quests, so I mostly stuck to the quest lines with more of a narrative. I really enjoyed the DLC quest lines, Dawnguard and Dragonborn. The main quest and the Civil War quest lines were also very well done. Most of the Daedric quests were interesting, and the Winterhold and Companions quest lines had a bit more narrative depth than most of the other side quests. The music of Skyrim is just celestial. I may have spent more hours listening to the Skyrim soundtrack at work than actually playing the game. It truly is an incredible offering, this Skyrim soundtrack. These orchestral pieces are they're transcendent. Unfortunately, it does need to be noted that some disturbing allegations against the composer have come to light, and this has soured many people on the lasting legacy of this soundtrack. Of course, you can't write about Skyrim without mentioning the historic Skyrim modding community. There are mods that fix broken things in the game. There's mods that update graphic textures and lighting effects. There's mods that replace dragons with Thomas the Tank Engine characters. And so many mods that add community-created content into the game. Mods have turned this massive game into a seemingly infinite game. If you want to keep existing in this fantasy world, there are many mods that can keep your adventure going for hours upon hours. A friend of mine said this to me about Skyrim, and it really resonates. Skyrim trades depth for breadth. I can definitely see that after my 120 hours. There's just so much to do compared to Oblivion, and most of Skyrim's content is good, though there does seem to be more filler and less intentionality with some of the filler quests. It's taken some thought, but I don't think that Skyrim dethrones Oblivion for me. I probably still carry too much Oblivion nostalgia. Still, in spite of the bugs, Skyrim is an impressive open-world experience, and fans of story-rich immersive RPGs will have a grand time. Thanks for listening to the Retro Mo Podcast. As always, I do my best to keep all of my content spoiler-free and rated E for everyone. If you find this podcast enjoyable or helpful, tell a friend, and consider giving a 5-star review on your favorite podcast app. If you have questions or comments, you can send an email to retromopodcast@gmail.com. Thanks for listening. Godspeed.